But what really caught my attention was Herod and his response to the birth of Jesus. And again, because for us, like, we love Christmas. Most people, Christmas is a happy time of the year. But during the first Christmas, not everybody's response to the birth of this baby was joy. So you see these two groups of people, the Magi, what was their response? Their response was joy, this pretty amazing joy and worship. That was their response. But on the other hand, there was Herod, and his response was he was troubled. Well, why do you think Herod was troubled? Well, clearly he was troubled because he wanted to be the king. One thing that's really interesting about this story too is Herod believes that Jesus, that he is the fulfillment of Old Testament prophecy. It's not that Herod doesn't believe that Jesus is the Messiah. Even though Herod believes that Jesus is this prophesied king of the Jews, like, he still fights against it. That's how much he wants to be king. He wants to be king so much that he's willing to go against God. Now, it would make sense if he didn't believe the prophecy, right? It would make sense that he would say, you know what? This guy is just another person who's kind of opposing my rule. But what I find really interesting is that he actually believes that Jesus is the King of the Jews, prophesied in the Old Testament. And yet he's troubled and he wants to be king. It's so easy for us when we read the Bible and we read stories in the Bible. I think it's really easy for us to judge people in the Bible, especially people who get it wrong. But when I think of Herod, I wonder how many people today, when their response to Jesus would be the same. I know that Christmas is a happy time of the year, but again, I think most people, if we're not careful, Christmas is about Santa, presents, and, snow and other things. But when you get down to what Christmas is really about, Christmas is a day that we remember and celebrate the birth of Jesus, who is this prophesied King of the Jews. I wonder how many people respond to Jesus today the same way that Herod responded to Jesus when Jesus was first born. So for me, like, when I read this story, I compare, like, am I more like the Magi? Or am I more like Herod?